right. Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Happy Wednesday. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're having the most amazing week. I am super, super excited about my guest and my conversation today. I am seeing two of my favorite queens on, Jennifer and Gloria. Welcome. I have one of my favorite kings waiting in the background to come in. So I want to welcome each and every one of you to Real Beauty Talk. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Paula D'Souza. I've been navigating the beauty industry for over 2 decades as a makeup artist, and I honestly, I could say I specialize in people. If I have to tell you who I am in a nutshell, I am a multidimensional being who loves to inspire, motivate, and encourage each other. And I enjoy telling other people's success stories and not just the nice, fabulous stuff. I really want the average person out there to understand that success is not an overnight accomplishment. It takes a lot of hard work, hard grind, tears, or as my friend would say, blood, sweat, and tears. And I really want the one thing I want you to get out of these conversations is definitely some encouragement, and I want to be able to inspire you. I want to be able to impact your life in such a way that you will want to transform your life at some point or the other, no matter how tough it is. So today I have a beautiful soul with me. He's been in my life on and off for a couple of decades, and I'm going to bring him on so we can watch him blush as I talk about him. Welcome, Gerard. How are you?
The top of the world to you.
How you doing today? Happy Wednesday. I want to say I really do appreciate your time. I know time is our most valuable asset. And for you to be sharing this Wednesday evening with me, I'm very, very honored and I'm very thrilled.
Thank
Um,
you.
for, for the people who don't know you, please tell us who Gerard is without even mentioning what you do. Because I know for me, your story is phenomenal and it is super inspiring. So I wanna do you like I do all my guests. Tell us who you are without mentioning what you do or what you're about.
I'm Gerard. I'm a guy who serves people. I'm about servitude. I am about selfless service. I do not subscribe to selfish service, so I put others before myself.
Mm,
I am the acronym for leadership. So I'm going to break it down as we did in the military. LDR, short for leader, and
right,
SHIP. That would be me. So we'll start with the L, loyalty, D, duty, R, respect, S, selfless service, H, honor, I, integrity, and P, personal courage. And that's the acronym that makes up leadership. Um,
wow,
that's Gerard.
that's powerful. And inside of all of that, what inspires Gerard?
Um, just the need and desire to serve people and to meet people where they are,
Mm,
um, at the point of their need, and encourage people. I
mm,
know that I needed it. Um, we are, especially now, going through a tumultuous time. We've gone through a lot as a people
mm-hmm.
globally, and change change is sometimes uncomfortable, and not all of us could adapt to it. And that
Right.
even applies to me. Sometimes I would need help to alter where I am to where it is I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Others would need the same thing. That's where we, being our brother's keeper, usually comes in.
Definitely. And before we dig into the juicy stuff, this is about self care, real beauty talk. And I know for a fact that grooming from a male's perspective, it's not just a woman thing. Women take care of the skin, and I believe men should be doing that too. Because when it comes to skin, like you and I had a conversation recently, and I said our skin is our most valuable asset, and most people don't see it like that. So I want to know if do you have a self care routine in terms of your grooming routine? How do you keep so youthful?
Well, I live in the gym. I
Right.
live I live in the gym, and uh, without trying to um, without trying to uh, let the cat out of the bag, I'm an ex-soldier, ex-United States military, and
Well, we will get there eventually.
I know, but I was trying not to, but that routine of daily work, the day that I don't get up out of my bed early and
Hmm.
start my day, I don't feel well. I don't because it has become a routine.
Hmm.
Um, I do that, um, and with that, I'm able to uh, walk into the day and execute.
Right.
You know,
So what do you do? So in terms of like, I mean, that's you taking care of your body. How important is eating right for you as in relation to maintaining your health, your physical health, that is. How important is eating right? And I also really want to talk about your grooming care routine as well, because I know most guys they just go to the barber, get a haircut, get a trim. But does it go a little beyond for you? Do you take a little extra time in like cleansing the skin and that kind of thing? Because I think it's important for guys to understand just like how men admire beautiful women who are well groomed. I am sure there are a lot of ladies out there who want the same thing too. Your hands should be nicely taken care of as well as your feet. You get what I'm going with it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, it's been a taboo for a long time,
Exactly.
that this only applies to women.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I held that taboo for many years
Mm-hmm.
until I got into uh, the eyes of the public,
Right.
and there were a lot of things that I learned. Um, Image is everything, and sometimes
Yeah.
you only get one opportunity to cast and make that first impression. So you want
Exactly.
to make and you want to allow that first impression um, really to count. So it would require me to, um, from the facial scrubs on occasions,
Mm-hmm.
um, not just the cutting and stuff of my hair,
Right.
um, uh, you know, body wash, manicure, pedicure, the
Very
works.
good. Yes. So when
And
you put on the sandals, your feet look a little
uh,
nice-ish.
you know, um, I learned, and I learned these things on late in life.
Right.
But as the saying goes, it's always better late than never.
Exactly.
And this is something that I encourage others to do. I had a habit when it came to the biting of my nails, but I think a lot of that had to do um, with my tenure in the military. So somebody
Right.
said, "Are you dealing with nerves?" I said,
That
"I
is
don't
something
think
that
so."
I remember from way back. So let me take you back in time a little bit. Do you remember how we met? I will tell my version of the story. For those of you who are there and you can hear, I am hoping that you're hearing a little bit of the music that is playing in the background. So what I want you to, you guys are my tech people outside on the outside. So let me know if you're hearing the music, if it's at a good volume. And I also want to say the voice that you're hearing in the background is this king that I'm talking to right now. So this is his CD. What is it called?
Covered, covered.
Covered, and this was released in, was it 2014 or 2015?
That was before that.
Before
And
2014.
yeah, and I remixed it. It was remixed in 2015. It was remixed.
Okay, so for my peeps who are on the outside and you're hearing, let me know if the volume is good or if I need to turn it up a little bit. So yes, so Jared and I met. We fellowship at the same church over 2 decades ago, and maybe a little over 2 decades ago, I would say. And Jared used to play the drums, and he would fellowship from time to time, or minister, as they say in church, you know. And I always remember him as this very humble um, young man, I would say. He was always very humble, very gracious, very polite. That was my experience with you. So I particularly want to establish the fact that, we didn't just bump into each other the other day. We kind of have a little bit of
We
history.
have history. Yeah.
Yes. So what was your experience like? So whenever I think about you, I always see this very non-assuming young man who I thought at the time was super talented.
I
Somebody said turn up the volume.
pardon.
No, one of my people said turn up the volume. Yes, I turn it up a little bit. Is this good? All right, so go ahead, Gerald. I want to hear your version of this story.
Yeah. Well, you just nailed it.
That
Uh,
was my stuff. How about you? What was your first impression of, meeting me? What was that like?
It was. I used to call you Mary J. Blige.
I always
I
wonder why.
because you had her appearance, um, the hairdo. You had this. I guess was the poise and persona. You personified her in more ways than one. You know.
Really, I never thought.
Yeah. I I and back then, she was a lady that I used to listen a lot to. I loved
Right.
Mary J. Blige. Yeah, you know.
So then I was in a good category.
you were, you were.
All
You
right.
still are. You still are. So
Well, I am very grateful for that, and I am going to read a little bit about your history, so that people who are tuning in could get a reference as to who Gerard is now. And I want you to take us back to Gerard before we get to all this beautiful stuff. So this that I'm reading here, guys, I don't know if you can see it. I mean, it's back to front. This is 2019. Jared was admitted into the Veteran Hall of Fame by the New York State Senate. Am I correct? So, reading a little bit, Jarrod Placide is an acclaimed singer, community leader, and veteran from Brooklyn, New York. Originally hailing from Trinidad and Tobago, he served as a soldier in the United States Army 3rd Infantry Division at Fort Stewart, Georgia. Mr. Placid has had the privilege of singing for the Queen of England, London, President of United Nations 57th General Assembly, His Excellency Julian Robert Hunte, then Senator Hillary Rohan Clinton, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, Senator John McCain, and former presidents Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama. Mr. Placid has valiantly served not only his country but also New York State, the City Council, and his community, working on community related projects and singing at key engagements. So I want to pause here and I want to go over to this other one, because this to me also, if I don't mention this, I am doing you an injustice. In 2001, Gerard became the first Caribbean national to win the claimed title of McDonald's Gospel Solo Award. He again won the title in 2002 and 2003, becoming the first non American to hold this title for 3 consecutive years in New York. Later that year, Gerald went on to release his first album, Traditional Gospel, at the historical Baptist Temple in Brooklyn, New York, where his friend and brother in Christ, the godfather of gospel and the late Reverend Timothy Wright, was the opening act. There is so much more to this, but what I want to ask you first is when you hear somebody read your bio, how does it really feel? And then take us back to what Gerald's childhood was like and share some of the challenges that you had to overcome and conquer. Because you don't necessarily have to go too deep, but I really want to establish the fact that we see a lot of people, we see them in their success, walking in their victory, but we don't always know that some of these people have to literally climb out of hell.
I lived hell.
So talk to us about that.
Um, I came from a troubled background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not going to go into the specifics of it, but it got me to the point where I lived on the streets. When I tell people that I visited the trash, I literally visited the trash. In other words, I ate from the trash.
Mm.
Um, Scripture says that a man's gift will always make room for him and will take him before great kings.
Yes.
And indeed, I have to count myself blessed and privileged to be one of those who I would say was chosen.
Mm-hmm.
At times I still ask God, why me? And then I
Mm.
always, uh, I'm always presented with this, well, why not you? You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
um, for me, you know, just even listening to FC Barnes' song "Rough Side of the Mountain."
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the things that even sent me to record that song was my mountains were rough, they were
Mm.
rugged. The terrain in my life, um, the things that I went through and experienced was unconscionable.
Mm.
Um, I didn't know anything much about loving self,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I I didn't experience it
Right.
growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, um, the failed relationships that I went through in my
Mm-hmm.
life, in search for love,
Mm-hmm.
had minused the fact that while loving others, self-love really wasn't evident with me.
Right.
Now, anybody could jump and say this or that,
Right.
but you needed to love yourself first. But how could you really love yourself
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know what love is? I only had a concept, a perception of what love is. I assumed that love was found in a girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
or in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And those things failed me.
Right.
And I paid for it mentally.
Right.
But I
Mm-hmm.
found myself always at a place where a melody would always take preeminence. a song would always be in my head, and I
Mm,
would and I would I would start to sing, and that's where people started to really uh, look at me differently.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I was also deemed a threat. You know that we have, we go through this crabs in a barrel syndrome, and I think that we still have to learn that we're supposed to prop each other up,
Right. But
not
before you go
yeah.
there, I really want to get to the bottom of the state of mind you were in during that time when you were on the streets and during that time when you were, as you would say, eating from the garbage. Where was your mindset at that time? Did you think that, okay, all this stuff, how many accolades have you acquired? What was your dream? What inspired you to wake up the next day and just want, because those are some of the things I really think is so very important for us to get out there, because there's so many people who are at their lowest low, and somebody like you or me, we can tell them, hey, I had a dream, or maybe I had a hope. What was your state of mind in that I don't know if you could go back there for a little bit. I promise you we're gonna stay there for a long time.
Um,
Did you had a dream?
I always had a dream to uh, come to the U.S. and
Mm.
sing. I
Sorry,
had
hey
in my
Kathleen, hey Rachel. Every time now and then I will just shout people out. So y'all please pop in and make your comments, because this is not just a dialogue between myself and Gerard. I want to include you guys in the conversation too. So post your questions. So yes, go ahead. Sorry.
um,
You had a dream.
yeah. It at times seemed far fetched,
Hmm.
and there were other times where it seemed impossible.
Right.
But I still held on to it. That dream was, just seeing myself in the United States singing for choice and uh, elite audiences,
Mm.
um, singing for everyone. Um, I never really let go of it. I used to, I used to share with people, even living on the streets, and I would say things like, um, you know, I, I am going to be great one day.
You actually used to say that to people.
Yeah, I
That
used
was
to, I used,
awesome.
and but for me, I wasn't, I wasn't in a state of greatness. I
Yeah.
wasn't even sure why I was saying it, so I knew that it had to be God
Yes.
who was um, literally using my mouth to utter, speaking these things into the atmosphere.
Yes.
I didn't, I didn't believe that years later they would come to fruition.
And look at how awesome it is. For those of you who were here when I read the thing, I'm going to post it so people can see it a little bit later. So, as a child, what was your childhood like? Um, when you, because most times you hear, oh, as soon as I was 5 years old, I had this dream of becoming this or becoming that. Your thing was what? Music?
Yeah, mine's was music. Mine was always music.
How did you get exposed to music?
I was born into it. My both parents, mother and father, the lineage of my family on both sides, both
Mm.
mother and father were um, exceptionally seasoned vocalists,
Wow.
and you know, I I I just held on to it.
That is amazing. So, what exactly changed the trajectory of your life in terms of like coming out from living on the streets to where you are today? What was the catalyst?
People like Bernadette Laughlin Scott from Love Movement, who
Mm,
um, I was singing in the square
really? Which
and
square?
Woodford Square in Port of
Oh,
Spain. I was
right.
singing in the square,
Uh huh.
and it was Bernadette who and her team, Love Movement, they were giving out food.
Mm,
Bernadette was responsible for me, um, gave me an opportunity to get shelter,
mm-hmm,
cleaned me up. Um, I connected with Living Waters community and Marion House and ended up at Shagaramas Youth Camp,
mm-hmm.
where I was doing trade, plumbing. These were sideline, jobs, but really and truly, I sucked at it.
Right.
Drafting, math, I sucked at those things, you know. But I still held, I still held it together. When I realized it wasn't for me, um, I got an invitation from Bernadette to come to her home in
Mm-hmm,
Cascade to for an audition,
mm-hmm.
and that was just the beginning, of
Wow.
my tenure, Love Movement. And later on, I would get an opportunity to sing Queen's Hall, and you know,
So that was the beginning of your dream, of you
yeah.
speaking, even though you wasn't sure. So, what would you say to someone who is probably at that lowest of lows, but know they're speaking something that seem impossible in the moment? What would you tell that person in terms of like encouraging them?
Every seed that is planted needs watering, germination,
Mm,
sunlight. But even with those, you have inclement weather,
mm,
storms, you have rodents treading on the soil, you have the birds of the air
mm.
coming and picking at you, and you just got to try to hold it together. No, it's never easy.
Right.
Um, I I lost count of the amount of times that I tried to kill myself, uh, and looking back, looking back at looking back at it, I think that now that I am in a good place, a better
Mm-hmm,
place, sorry,
mm-hmm.
and knowing very well that I have comrades who are dealing with it and they could hear my story. I share it with them and I talk and I plead with individuals who are dealing with suicide,
Mm-hmm.
um, to give yourself a chance. It would take it would take digging digging past the pain. And sometimes the pain of the past
Mm.
um, really holds us back from propelling into the future.
Right.
My mind goes back to Even like, Michael Jackson and the stuff
Right.
that he went through with Joe Jackson, his dad. And,
Mm-hmm.
people pointed out, and, Michael was this and Michael was that. Um, Michael went through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, the thing about it is that they say that to whom much is given, much is required.
Yes.
And I think artists, whether music, whether, in whatever genre, whatever field um, that you excel in,
Mm-hmm.
we who are placed on this platform of prominence,
Mm-hmm.
we are held at a higher order. And sometimes it's hard to live up to the expectations of others.
Right.
Um, I think that one has to go beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't about living up to people's expectations.
Right.
It's about living up to the standards and the expectations that God has placed you on this earth to walk in. I spent a lot of time trying to validate who I was to people. I did
Mm-hmm.
things in my past that I wasn't happy about,
Mm-hmm.
but I think even around church,
Ah, that's a whole other kettle of fish.
that
But
church
before you go on,
hurt.
I just wanna interject one thing that I personally um experienced that liberated me from the whole trying to please people thing. And I think this is the perfect time for me to share it too, because I know you will also endorse it. Um other people's expectations have absolutely nothing to do with you. And the day you stop living your life in such a way to please other people is the day you will liberate yourself forever. Would you endorse that?
Yes, I would, 100%.
Yes, and also before we go any further, you mentioned you had several suicidal attempts. What kept you from going through with it? Just give me one gem or one experience that you would have had that because if somebody is listening, they're probably in that state of mind. We really want to drop a gem that will give them that encouragement to understand that today, where you are right now, is not your final destination. God's plan for your life is bigger than what you've seen in front of you. That is bigger than the pain, the hurt, the disappointment, and all of that stuff that you're experiencing in a moment.
Your present your present situation is a conduit, only a conduit to your final destination.
Yes.
So you might be going through hell. There's Ron Canoli said that if you're going through hell, don't hold it. Sorry, if you're catching hell, don't hold it. But
Don't
if you're
hold it.
going through hell, don't stop.
Yes, yes. I
Again,
remember that song.
exactly. If you're catching hell, don't hold it. But if you're going through hell, don't stop.
Right.
For me, I, I didn't, and I want to be honest. A lot of it is owed to my mother, my praying mother,
Thank God for your
who
mother.
came to the United States. The Bible says that the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. And
Yes.
my mother, with all my habits, I was a liar, I was a thief, I did these things.
Mm,
And but the people who really encouraged me wasn't those within the parameters of church.
right.
It was the average man who saw something.
Like more.
And exactly, you know, exactly. I remember
I
when
picture
we,
it to myself as a party a success story.
well, what I remember most, I was sharing with you, you didn't remember,
Mm,
but it was probably as a result of, it's you. We used to be at that church. I'm not going to call the church,
no, 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 no. We don't want to.
um, but I never used to have, never had money or anything like that. I never
Mm,
so often, hold this, you know. I remember. I don't know if you remember the day when I put Ziggy on the drum.
drums, yes, I remember that. I have
Um,
pictures because remember I took a lot of pictures. It was
yes, yes, and you gave it to me. I That picture is still in my stuff.
yeah.
The blue drums, and Ziggy was sitting there. I was
Mm,
teaching Ziggy how to play drums.
yes, yes, yes.
Um, then you would come to church on evening.
Mm.
Um, Look, even Caitlin says she remember. Yes, she would.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know,
Mm,
um, I would. You would come in. You would come in. I think most of the time you're coming in from work. Sometimes you'd be coming in early,
mm-hmm.
and you would always give me a little something. I wasn't working anywhere, and at that time I was I was sleeping in the churchyard at times under a
Oh,
step.
dear.
Under a step, I was still playing music and I was still singing.
And you always was pleasant. You always had a smile on your face. But I want to tell people where God took you from and where you are. I'm reading something right now. It says, after hosting 2005 Caribbean American Gospel Showcase Awards, Gerard was invited to share his expertise and appear as a judge to assist in the selection of the 25th Grand Champion at the World Championships of Performing Arts in Hollywood, New York. And here it
Hollywood,
is.
California.
Yeah, sorry, Hollywood, California. I hear this. In 2010, Gerard received a proclamation from the United States Army for his service to the military, to God and to country. Later that year, he received his fifth proclamation from the United States Congressman Hank Johnson for his work in the state of Georgia, working collectively with the congressman in pushing the affairs of the Caribbean immigration immigrants, sorry, for the Caribbean. Let me say that again. He received his fifth proclamation from the United States Congressman Hank Johnson for his work in the state of Georgia, working collectively with the Congressman's office in pushing affairs of Caribbean immigrants for health care and immigration reform. So, y'all, wherever you are right now is not your final destination. So, Gerald, what I want, because of course, we could spend a whole lot of time talking about all these things because I think your story is so phenomenal. But because of time, I want to fast forward. What was your catalyst? Because we talk about self love, and I want to really kind of like get into the nitty gritty of how you manage your mental health, how you get out from that place of trying to find love in women and friends and other things, and learning to love yourself. What did that look like for you? How did you get about it? What was the catalyst for that?
Um, Counseling and my son.
Yes.
My
You know
son.
what? I have to let everybody know how awesome this experience is. Tell us what is so unique about you having a son. Yeah,
He's my
listen to this.
he's my only son. We are both Gerard and the Placids. We were both born on a Wednesday. We were both born on May 2nd. We were both born at 10:59 a.m. We both carry the same birthmarks on our back.
That is freaking phenomenal. That is just unexplainable, but awesome at the same time. And what was, I mean, because I understand when you have your first child, because we have that in common. We both have sons. And I remember when I saw my son for the first time, it felt like, oh my God, this is really a miracle. Another human being actually come out of my body. But from a man's perspective, what was that like for you?
I wept. I wept, and I had promised my son that I would always be there for him.
Mhm.
I had promised his mother that too. Um, when
I got you.
when my uh, when my marriage went down,
Mm.
I had to dig to find resilience, and then many jumped on me until they found out what had went on.
Yes. We're
But
not going to go into the
no,
details,
no, no, no.
you know?
But
Yeah.
my boy would always say, "Daddy, I love you."
Mm.
Always, "Daddy, I love you. Daddy, I love you." And I live I live for God.
Mm.
I live for my son. Um, he has. I always said that he has an awesome mother. Um, she teaches him well.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that.
Right.
She's an awesome mother.
Mm.
Um, he's in New York. I live in Atlanta.
Mm.
I'll be headed down to see him
That
soon.
is really great.
You know,
Your journey with
um,
self love began with him
I would have to say I would have to say it was recent.
recent.
I was still. I mean, it was some years ago, but I mean, at Gerard's birth,
Mm-hmm.
I really understood God's love for me,
Yes.
because God's love for me was like a mirror, and He was
Mm.
the mirror, and I was looking at the mirror, and I laughed, I smiled, and I felt, you know, I felt real, you know, just high spirits, high spirits.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. So your journey with your, because I kind of want you to leave a little gem as to your journey to self love and taking care of your mental health as well. I know that we have one thing in common. We do read awesome books. And I know apart from the counseling and the prayer of your mom and the
I
work.
read a lot.
Yes, because I did a whole series on healing begins with you. And I think I want everybody to understand because my program is not really about inspiring women. It's the collective because we're all one. A queen can't function without a king, and a king can't function without a queen. So to me, this is my way of saying, you know what, we got to take care of each other. And I want you to kind of share your healing journey and to kind of like inspire others to not inspire, well, inspire, yes, but encourage others the importance of actually doing the work Because you could read a gazillion books, but if you don't apply what you read, then how are you going to get results?
You know,
Because I tell you, I have seen your growth. Literally, when we used to conversate before, I used to want to pull out of my hair. It's like talking with you is like swimming, trying to swim against the tide. And now we could actually have a conversation and just feel so vibes and it just flows so well. And you're so much more comfortable with who you are. And I really, really do appreciate that you did the work. So thank you for doing the work. So tell us about your work, and I want you to share what awesome book you've read.
well, for me, it's a series of books. I did philosophy, and then I went in and I did
I love
psychology.
philosophy,
Yes, I
Stoicism, Taoism, and everything.
yes. Um, so I would try to be like that fly in the wall when Aristotle and Socrates and these guys, they would sit and they would debate the issues of today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, be it be it the scale of justice, be it power, be it um, what is love. These were subjects that these philosophers dug into.
Right. What do you, as you
For me,
talk about that, what do you think now? What do you think love is? What is love? How would you describe that from
that
your own experience?
love is encapsulated in self. Um, God is love. Love is God. But love is being able to go beyond self.
Mm,
Um, Love isn't selfish love. Love is selfless love, which is
mm,
putting others before self.
right.
Now, while you're doing that, you cannot effectively put others before self if you don't love self. You
Ah,
understand?
exactly.
You have
Exactly.
to love self to
Yes.
understand what selfless love is. You
And that
understand?
is the, do you think that's a catalyst for unconditional love? What you just said?
Definitely. Well,
Okay.
let me share something and stuff with you. Love doesn't carry conditions.
Exactly. That's why it's
Anything
called
that
unconditional.
I've always said it. If love, if there is a word that comes before love, love is a word that stands by itself.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
understand?
mm.
Um, I know about selfless love. Conditional love, if con- first of all, love doesn't carry any condition. It's either you love or you
And you
don't love.
don't love. Exactly.
You understand? So it
Yeah.
doesn't carry any conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot effectively love a woman if I don't love self.
Exactly.
Many of us, and I think this is the misconception and the taboo. Even with my divorce,
Mm.
um, I had to ask myself, well, what did you contribute?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? What did you contribute? And you use that as a gauge to really look at and and try and address the issues. I want to be a better man. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be the best man.
Right.
I want to be one who my yea is yea and my nay is nay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be one whose character is impeccable because my character was flawed.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
want to be one who understands that embracing others is a reflection of God embracing me. I would
Mm-hmm.
never be able to love anybody as much as God loves me. And I always tell people and stuff, it's not so much about, and this is one of the things and stuff with God. It wasn't so much about our love for Him. It was His love for us.
Exactly.
that has preserved us even to this past. So
Yes.
even with Jarrod's past and the things that Jarrod may have done, and God still saw it fit that he enlarged my territory, and
Mm-hmm.
it's only just beginning. That taboo of when you hear mental health,
Yes.
it's listen. This thing was only brought uh, to the main stage as a result of what soldiers were dealing with. But it was there long before post traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
don't have to be fighting a war. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing it through the pandemic. We're
Oh
seeing it
yes.
in marriages. We're seeing it
Mm-hmm.
in relationships,
Mm-hmm.
be it husband and wife, brother and sister, father and son or daughter. We're dealing and we're seeing a lot of it. This
Right.
misconception that they have where if a man cries out for help, it's a sign of weakness. No, it's strength. When a man can say, I need help,
I absolutely agree
you
with you
understand? Because
100%.
I needed help. I didn't
Yes.
have much people and stuff to help me, but you know what? I look back, I didn't need much people.
Mm-hmm,
All
mm-hmm.
you need and stuff is a few, just a
Yes.
few. Because
Yes.
the true culture of friendship, of your
Yes.
friends, and not when you're on the pinnacle, it's when you're
No.
in the valley of
Exactly.
distraction, depression, frustration, poverty, sickness.
Hmm.
That's when you really know
Who
the
are you?
who is who. You
Exactly.
understand?
Yes.
Anybody could be everybody wants to acclaim with winners.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to be
Everybody.
on top of the mountain, but nobody wants to bleed.
Nobody wants to
Nobody
be.
wants to be
Everybody
in the
wants to
valley.
help you to
Exactly.
top up your blood
Exactly.
when you're bleeding either. So it really
And
is a
that's why
thing.
we've moved from self-love to selfish. And
Yeah.
so we can't I can't be loved. It's about me, myself, and I.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And I've
mm-hmm.
said that this is now the face of the world. Greed. Nobody takes time out to really listen.
You
How
hear
can
the
I
song
help you?
playing in the background right now. I don't mean to distract you. Were it not for grace, I would not be where I'd be.
So I have an acronym for that word called GRACE. GRACE. That
Please
really
share.
spells out what grace is. GRACE. And each letter I'm about to. So it's God's righteousness at
Mm-hmm.
Christ's expense. Grace,
Right.
God's righteousness at Christ's expense. So at the
I have a
expense of
question for
Christ,
you before we go on. This CD, do you have it on Amazon or anywhere? If anybody on the thread is interested in it, can they get a copy?
it
Because let
it
me
it
tell you this has taken me through some really dark places. I love this CD. Every single song of it on this thing was like touched my soul.
well, I like I said, we're working on stuff on getting that's an old one.
Yeah.
Um, but we're working on stuff on getting it on the platforms other than Caribbean. I did two Caribbean songs, but me personally, I'm not a Caribbean. I'm from the Caribbean, um, but Caribbean gospel is not my thing. I am a
I understand
contemporary.
that. But I really want you to finish telling the acronym for grace. Sorry I cut you because you
G
were talking about grace and the song Word Not for Grace is
I, I,
playing in the
I find
background.
that real profound.
Exactly. So God knows exactly what He's doing. So that's why I had to interrupt you. So go
So
ahead.
it's GRACE.
Hmm.
God's righteousness at Christ's expense. That's
God's
God's
righteousness
righteousness
at
at
Christ's
Christ's
Yes.
expense. So at the expense of Christ, we became righteous. And listen, righteousness is not determined by the pastor or the elder or the deacon or the deaconess or whoever. God determines that.
Definitely.
I
Definitely.
want to I want to back up quick and stuff and share this. For me,
Mm-hmm.
I've been living that life to please the pastor, to please the prophet, to please the deacon or the deaconess or the elders. And while they were being served,
Mm-hmm.
I was being broken. I was bleeding because nobody was asking me, what are you dealing with? Nobody
Mm-hmm.
wasn't asking that. They would hear me sing and they would applaud. And
Yeah.
sometimes I walk off the stage and I go backstage and I'm crying. And they're saying it's the spirit. 9 out of 10 times is me hurting.
Mm.
Had nothing to do with the spirit. They discerned that.
Yes. Yes.
Wasn't
Yes.
that?
Yes.
It was me bleeding. Because for me, what they were applauding, and this has been my issue, even at home.
Mm-hmm.
This has always been my issue. I was looked at as the pest, except when I started to sing. So then
Wow.
one day I asked myself, who really they appreciate? Was it the carrier of the gift, or was it the gift? And 95% of the time, it was the gift,
But you
because
can't separate it too. The
ex,
gift is you. You are the
but, but,
gift.
but listen,
Mm.
the carrier, the Bible says that the gift goes without repentance. So a man, in other words, a man could a man could be in sin
Mm-hmm.
and still touching people's life, because scripture says
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
the gift goes without repentance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the thing about it is that once you're called, just like scripture says that many are called,
A
few
few
are
children.
chosen.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I knew that in spite of all the wrong that I may have done,
Mm-hmm.
my past, my God did not write me off. I always say that when men writes you off, God doesn't cancel you off, and the premiums with God is always good. That's one.
Exactly.
Here's the next one.
Mm-hmm.
He looks beyond our faults and he
Mm-hmm.
sees our needs. Man looks beyond our needs and sees our faults. So if you're looking to appease man, or if you believe that man is going to be your advocate,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we've seen where that has gotten us.
Mm-hmm.
If your trust is in a politician, a pastor, a pundit, a priest, or people, I call that the P formula, you fail.
Yes.
You understand? If your trust is in a pastor, prophet, pundit, priest, politician, or people, you fail.
Yeah.
God is the only one that you could put your trust in.
Right.
God
Because
uses
where
people.
this was what 2019
2019 New York State Senate, I
New
wept.
York State Senate Veterans Hall of Fame, right? And but just because of time, we have to kind of like slip something in. What I want to do is get the audience, the people who are there. I want you to make sure that you share this live, first of all. Secondly, this is your opportunity. If you have any questions that you want to ask Jarrod, pop it in the comments section. So, what I really want to ask you now, get into the fun part. What do you appreciate most about Jarrod?
Where he came from. Not so much who he is, but
Yeah.
where he's heading.
Right.
Because
Do
if we,
you
if
ever
we get
feel
if
I
we
have
if we
go ahead.
get too comfortable, and usually we do, If we get too comfortable of where we are,
Right.
there's a tendency that when that wind of change, that wind of promotion comes in, we're so comfortable anchored to where we are, we're
Mm-hmm.
not we're not willing to move. And better
Wow.
and better and better
I
is
wonder if
better
my friend's
awaits.
still here.
Huh?
I have a friend that I could tease right now because she wanted to move from an apartment that she was in for 2 years, and guess what? Paula came along. Within a couple of months, she in a new fabulous place.
And she deserves it. She
Yeah,
deserves it.
but we have to
Prosper as
make
your
that
soul
decision,
prospereth.
right?
Exactly.
We have to make that decision. So I want to ask another question. Do you ever feel ashamed of your past?
No,
That is awesome.
no.
Yeah,
And that's why
because
I talk about it. I have no problem telling people that I ate from the
say
trash.
yes, Paula.
Because the thing about it is that if you know anything about trash, when trash is recycled, it's always better the second time around.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. But I also think let me ask you this in another way. If your situation back then was perfect, meaning you grew up in a home, you went to a good school, you had everything that you needed. Do you think where you are now it would have been different?
Who knows?
It's a kind of hypothetical question, but it's
Who,
still
who,
good
who
to have
knows? But
provoking
listen, I,
conversations.
I think I think I mean only God knows. But I think what makes the story
Hmm.
what makes the story so great is the journey. So
Yeah,
everybody sees the glory, but nobody takes time to hear the story. And
exactly.
the message is always in the
The
story.
story.
The
So
story.
that's why I appreciate so much that you gave us some time on Real Beauty Talk, because when you hear Real Beauty Talk, you're thinking about, most people think about makeup,
External.
but beauty entails all of this. The
It's
story.
beyond skin. It's beyond skin.
Exactly.
And that's the issue and stuff with many of us because we're
Hmm.
spending so much time taken care of externally, we are destroyed internally. You understand? The
Very much.
mascara and the compound. What happens and stuff when that flaking away, when that peeling away and stuff? Would we like what we see? And
Mm,
so I try to I want people to understand that
mm,
I was no good. I was a liar. I was a thief. I was no good. I was no good. One of the reasons why I'm saying that is that somebody is hearing this at this juncture right now. And you
mm,
are at a point in place in your life where you've been deemed insignificant.
mm.
You've been written off by many. Listen, there is a saying: a setback is a setup
Set up for
for
a
a
comeback.
comeback. You understand? And I told them
Preach it,
that
King. Preach it,
the
preach it.
new the new Gerard, I want to
Mm.
be the best man. I believe that God has a good woman and stuff there for me. I believe that
I
I
feel
believe
it.
that I believe that
Yes.
I believe that He wants me to prosper. He's still working on me daily. He
Yes.
uses his surgical instruments of love, joy, peace, happiness, long suffering. And
Mm.
these are the instruments that he's using and stuff on and with me. I will not stop singing and stuff for him.
You
I will
can't. You
continue.
really can't. You have
I
that
will
amazing
continue.
voice.
As long as I have breath in my body, Paula,
Hmm.
I will continue to sing.
That is awesome. And I want to ask you this. When you peel back the layer of who Jarrod is now at this particular stage, do you love what you see?
I know where I'm heading.
Guess what? We know that you're going to be blossoming into an even better version of yourself. But at this particular moment, in
I am
this
pleased.
particular moment,
Yes,
you're pleased.
I am pleased.
I
I
am
am
very
pleased
pleased too. I am
because
super. Yeah.
when I look back, from where it is I came from. Had you tell me that I would be singing for three U.S. presidents, for the
And the
Queen of
Queen of
England,
England.
for choice audiences around the world,
And
I would
back to back,
I would I would tell you, and
McDonald
then McDonald's
gospel,
Gospel Fest.
back to back. How many
Well,
years? 3 years.
I became the first West Indian. I'm proud to say I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Just in case
Woof, woof,
people do,
woof.
you know, I have to give my props So they asked what good could come out of Nazareth. With everything that is happening in Trinidad, in my country right now, I still believe in hope. You understand? Somebody
Yeah.
gave me a chance.
Yes.
And I think that each one of us needs to give each other a chance. I
Right.
would say to the I would say to the gunman, give that victim a chance.
Mm.
Give that victim a chance. For me, I would say to that husband who is beating that wife or that boyfriend who is massacring, for me, give her a chance.
Yes.
Because somebody gave me a chance.
Yes. Yes.
Somebody
Yes.
gave me a chance. And I could easily write off Trinidad, but I can't.
Yes. He came a far way. He came a far way. So anybody who knows Gerard, one thing about Gerard, he does not hide his emotions. He is very authentic with his the way how he expresses himself, and is the one thing that I really do love about him. I gonna give him a moment to get himself back together. And what I want you to do right now is pop into the comments, give him some love. If you have any questions that you want to ask, any
Can you
comments,
excuse me one second, please?
okay,
Can you excuse me one second?
sure. So, what is one of your takeaways from the conversation so far? And I want to say thank you, Kathleen, Audrey Thomas. You're here, Jennifer. Thank you for the love and all the positive energy that you guys are pouring into us right now. I am so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for your support. Any takeaways is hey Donna Johnson, nice to have you here. Yes, Sonia, talking your business, but nobody knows you. But you're still here. Um, yeah. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. When he gets back, we're going to wrap up. And because, as you know, time flies when we're having fun. And so you could go ahead and watch the replay. And what I would love for you to do is share as much of this as you can. So go
Ah,
ahead and share, share, share. Are you okay, honey?
yeah, I am.
All
I
right.
was just
So
I was having a senior moment.
no, it's not a senior moment. It's like you being so real. Your emotions is so raw and authentic. It takes a real man, a real human being who is, not afraid to share their joys or the things that they're passionate about. And I understand that that was about passion right here. So I appreciate you very much. You have so much love popping into these comments right now. It's and of course Kathleen can tease you. You done cry. So
Caitlin, that's my
because
buddy. We go way, way, way back.
yeah, because of timing, I want to wrap up now. And so this section is called first thoughts. And before I get into the first thoughts, there's a question that I really want to ask you. Two questions actually. Um, we touched a little bit earlier on the pandemic and how it has impacted so many lives. One of the things that I would love to find out from you is there any gem that you have, like almost like a life enhancing moment that you have learned from the last 2 years that will take you back take you not back, take you forward into the next couple of years. Because for me, one of the things that I have learned over I mean, there are so many lessons, but the one particular thing that really has kept me going is to understand that, you know what, God has a plan of purpose for you, and your current destination, your current position is not your final destination. That's one thing that will take me all the way back. Paying attention and trusting the process, no matter how rough it looks. So that is my gem for the last 2 years. Trust the process.
Hmm.
What is yours?
I When I shared with you and stuff, I'm reading a book that has really impacted me by Dr. Carolyn Leaf, and
Please
it talks
share
of
it.
cleaning up your
Clean up
mental
your
mess.
mental mess.
My brother introduced me to this book, and um, the author, Dr. Leaf. I mean, she's world renowned, Dr. Carolyn Leaf, and
Yes.
you know, she speaks on stuff, in the foreword. Toxic thoughts, depression, anxiety, or mental mess is frequently aggravated by a chaotic world and sustained by an inability to manage our thought life. But we shouldn't settle into this mental mess as if it's a new normal. There is hope and there is help available to us, and the road to healthier thoughts and peak happiness may actually be shorter than you woke me up. There's one nugget and stuff that really resonated with me uh, when I started the book, and it says the overview was, if our minds are messed up, our lifestyles are messed up, and when our
Mm-hmm.
lifestyles are messed up, our mental and physical health suffer. Mind
Mm-hmm.
management, she said, is a skill that needs to be learned and constantly upgraded as we grow from childhood into adulthood. For every new experience, we need a new set of mind management tools. There's no secret quick fix or uniform formula to healing and happiness. Feeling guilty because you failed to think positively enough, didn't have enough faith, or didn't reach some ideal is damaging to your psyche and your physical body. And so it really, it really, it's a book that I am
So
really.
let's see, because I have a few people who are readers here. So just share the name of it again. And
So the name of it
also,
is Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess.
mhm, by Caroline,
Dr. Caroline Leaf.
right,
5 simple, scientifically proven steps to reduce anxiety, stress, and toxic thinking.
right. And also, in the meantime, while you're waiting to get the book, she has a podcast as well. It's
Yes,
available on YouTube, so you can
yes,
definitely check her out. So, in
exactly.
closing, my few questions are: what do you believe in love?
I do. I do. I
Right.
do. My
And what
son,
do you?
I mean,
Right. But yes, thank you, Kathleen, for putting that in. You call her Caitlin. I say Kathleen. Caitlin. Kate. Kit. Okay, Caitlin. All right, well, I got it right. So yeah, you believe in love. Your son. What were you saying about your son?
yeah, my son, I see the best of me in my son. And
Right.
Gerard got me to a place where I mean I love self, yes, I love my son. Um in his timing. I don't
Mm,
have to try to um look for that person. Um when he is ready, he would appoint.
right.
Um
So
I
in terms of like one of these days, you will be sharing yourself with an equally beautiful, healed woman, just like
I, I
yourself.
I I believe that, but I needed to be healed first, because after
Thank you very
that
much. I say
separation,
that all
um,
the time.
yeah, hurt people,
Exactly. Yes,
and
yes, yes.
if you're dealing with a divorce, as I have, and God knows I wasn't married once.
Mm,
Um, the thing about it is that for me, I think I contributed to it by, I think I expected too much.
Ah,
You understand my expectations and stuff.
yeah.
Um,
This is a whole other conversation to talk about relationships. We can do it again another time because
yes,
relationships are two people individually trying to work this shit out. That's the bottom line.
it's like a coin. A
Yeah,
coin has two sides. Any coin with one side doesn't carry any value.
right, right, right. But of course, the timing is why I had to cut you short. And what are you most grateful for?
For life, good people, a second chance. Huh? What you said?
I said like more.
Yes,
I just
yes,
messing
yes.
with you. Just messing with you.
um,
I want
for
to make you laugh because when you come out to this thing, I want you to feel absolutely fabulous.
no, no, I've been feeling absolutely fabulous coming into it, fatherless
Okay,
going out
good.
of it. So
I want you to
I
feel more fabulous. So you're
yeah,
more where you're most grateful for life.
yeah. For a second chance,
Hmm.
for the ability to positively impact people's life, also for the tools to pull people from off the brink of depression without preaching at them. And
Yeah.
this thing where where mental health, and let me say this, this misconception that the church has, mental health is not a demon that you cast out. It takes
Thank you very much.
therapy. And I'm going to
Yeah.
repeat that again. You understand? One of the reasons why we have so many people in church dealing with mental health is because they are casting out something that just needs to be spoken to, spoken about, spoken with. You understand? People don't want to
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and stuff. People just want to share. You understand?
Somebody to
The burning, the
listen.
bur- hell and brimstone and no. Everybody is dealing. And a lot of the people who pass in judgment, they bleed into.
Exactly.
They bleed
So
into.
at this point, that book is a great recommendation, Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess. I also discovered another, it's a book as well. It's called, blah, blah, blah. I totally went blank. I having a senior moment. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. For those of you who don't like to read, the audio version is available as well. So this section in closing, let me say that again. In closing, this section is called First Thoughts. So I'm going to shoot either a word or a phrase at you, and you will say with under 60 seconds, what is the first thought that comes to mind? Are you up for that game? Okay. The first, your first thought on your son.
I love that boy so much.
The other thing is that you can't repeat your answers.
Okay.
Right. Your mom,
My rock, my gem, my pillar of support.
your music.
Soothes the angriest beast.
Say that again.
Soothes the angriest beast in us. Because
Wow.
it's done that for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can feel that. I can feel that. And what would you like people to remember most about you?
From where it is I came from to where it is I am, if I can do it, anybody can. And always believe in that second chance. Give yourself some space,
Right.
some room to breathe. Don't be too hard and stuff on yourself. Do not be
Yeah.
afraid to fail,
Hmm.
because the true the true culture of failure is when you stop trying.
Yes, and I also want to add because I also do a lot of inspirational reading too, and Lisa Nichols has this thing that I learned from her. She says, give yourself 1,000 second chances if you have to, because a lot of times there may be people out there willing to give you a second and a third and a fourth chance, but you as your own self, you're not willing to give yourself a second chance. So in us, it starts with us as the individual. Am I right? When it comes to
Yes.
giving yourself a second, because I mean somebody else could give you an opportunity, but because you've been hearing all this negativity for all these years, you tell
Yes.
yourself, you know what, I am no good, I don't deserve it. But remember, every day you wake up, you deserve a second chance. And my last and final question for now is, um I know you're also a social activist.
I am.
So what is your legacy in the way that is concerned? Do you have anything that you're working on right now?
We always push for criminal justice reform. We always push for immigration reform. We are polarized as a people. I'm seeing it here in the United States. I'm seeing it in Trinidad. Um, and the thing about it is that politics is dividing us.
And
Politics is
hey,
dividing us.
we ain't gonna even go there because that's so
No,
many
no, no,
other
I know that's
things. Yeah, yeah,
but
that's a whole other
as you
kettle
know,
of
as we
fish.
say that and stuff, I remember David Rudder's song where when he says how we vote is not how we party. And so if we could understand,
Yeah.
if we could understand, you
And
know,
then there was somebody who had this profound concept of politics as well, and I thought, that's interesting. He said, I don't remember exactly who it was. He said, if people chose their politicians the way they chose their sports manager or whoever is managing the football team, because if a team lose a season, they
mhm.
fire the coach.
True,
Eh?
true, true.
So why aren't they applying the same concept to politicians? Politicians messing up and they're still going back in power. So, but I'm not in politics. But Jarrod and everybody else who choose to join us today on this beautiful Wednesday, just a few weeks away from Christmas and the season of love. I really don't do Christmas the traditional way because I think the essence of what the season is all about is missing, but I still acknowledge it. I really want to say I am so grateful for your time, Jarrod. I am so grateful that you trusted me to have this conversation with me, and I appreciate your time very much. I appreciate all of you. So, on that note, I will say thanks again. Remember that you're awesome. And hear what? Don't forget, I have my group, Real Beauty Talk. And when I get off this stream, I'm expecting to see a lot of shares of this particular conversation. And and please, can you feel free to join Real Beauty Talk as a private group, and it's all about inspiration. We don't do politics, we don't do social stuff. If you want to come in there, share some inspiration, get some inspiration, Real Beauty Talk is the place to be. Also, don't forget, I got out of my head and I started my YouTube channel. So pop on and follow and whatever, subscribe, because I am amazed that you will have about 15, 1,600 friends in your circle, let's say on Facebook or wherever, but when you look at your YouTube channel, you have 77 or 73 people subscribe to your channel. What's up with that? Support. We need your support. I am taking this time, we're taking this time to come and inspire and motivate you. So the least that you can do is show us some appreciation by giving us some love in those areas. So thank you, Jennifer. Powerful session. I don't think there are any questions, just lots and lots of comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. Um, I will pause what is playing in the background, and I'm going to let you guys do the outro with Lift Every Voice from Gerard's cover. Gerard, I will take you out and put you in the backstage area. So can you hold on? Do you want to say anything in closing? Oh,
Uh,
Gerard has his page. Please follow him. Gerard Placide, the artist.
right. And also my Facebook page and stuff you could send out. Um, I had more than one page. They were hacked, but I got to take care and stuff of that. But I think it's Jarrod Placide. Just look for Jarrod Placide. I'm wearing a brong.
Yes, Gerard Placide, the artist. I think that's what it
Well,
is.
Gerard Placide, the artist, that's the artist page. That's the artist page. But I'm a people's person and stuff.
Oh,
My Facebook page and stuff is there, Gerard Placide. So yeah.
okay. So, any final thoughts, any closing before I add your music?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to um, share Gerard and Cot. You and I know there was much more. Um, I look forward to. I don't know when it is I'm going to visit home. I'm praying for you guys in Trinidad. This too will pass. No plague shall come nigh Trinidad and Tobago's dwelling, and every curse, be it crime, corruption, chaos, confusion, conflicts, we send it down to hell. But I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Paula, I am grateful for. I don't take these. I don't do much of these. you know.
Yes, I know.
Uh,
I appreciate it so
you
much.
know. I, my traveling starts back next year, and I'll tag you as to
I know you'll keep
where.
me in the loop.
Yeah, definitely. There's some huge things coming off, and I'm just looking forward to what
Yes.
is in store for the new year.
Yes. Don't worry. I am going to not, I wouldn't be too far behind. And as I said again, I appreciate you guys sharing your most valuable asset with me, which is your time. So, on that note, I am going to put you in the backstage and I will also let you guys hear a little bit of Jarrod doing a cover. Who's the original singer of this particular song?
Which one?
They lift every voice.
No, that's the That's America's Black national anthem. Um, it's a song that was written. I forgot the writer, but it's a song that motivates and stuff and uplifts. I think it was supposed to be a prerequisite or something like that to the American anthem.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
All right. So, y'all, take this in. God love and blessings. I will talk to you in a minute. So, I'm just going to let this play for a minute or so. And you
Okay.
guys have the most amazing rest of the night. Have the most amazing rest of the week. And remember that you're awesome, okay? Till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let a rejoicing rise highest to listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the